Hello and welcome to another episode of the Pulse of Spokane. My name is Emmett Rice and I'll be your host today. I'm here with Taylor Roff from the Senator Guitars. Taylor, how are you doing today?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Good. Well, it's great to have you here. I was reading on your website before, doing a little research as I do. There's quite an interesting story behind the name of the Senator Guitars. Can you tell
Yeah.
me about that?
Yeah, so my great grandfather on my mother's side owned a bar in Santa Cruz, California that was called the Senator. And strangely enough, totally by coincidence, my grandma, his daughter was the very first person to buy something at my shop.
Wow. So does that make that your grandma?
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. Cool. Was it like a music-based bar or was it kind of just the Senator Guitars?
I never went to the bar. He passed away way before I was alive, but
Sure.
I like history a lot, especially like family history, and it just seemed like kind of a cool idea. So there's a little doodle, like a caricature, and it's a picture of my great grandfather.
Wow, that's really special. You're obviously a musician yourself. Have you been in Spokane for a while?
Yeah, me and my parents moved to Spokane probably when I was 6, and then I went all the way through high school, and then I went to college for a little bit in Seattle, and then moved to Portland and moved back probably a year before opening the shop.
Cool. Yeah, so what made you want to open a business in Spokane or a music
Uh,
store specifically?
it kind of wasn't my idea. When I was living in Portland, I was working in construction and just kind of thought that that's what I was going to do for the rest of my life. And actually, my father figured it out, kind of crunched the numbers, or at least told me that he thought that it was possible to do something like that in Spokane, as opposed to somewhere like Seattle or Portland where rent is way, way higher, and the market's definitely a lot more flooded with other guitar stores. And I kind of thought about it for a year and decided that it'd be better than working in construction, and
Absolutely.
just kind of pulled the trigger on it.
Yeah. How would you rate the Spokane music scene as opposed to maybe Seattle or Portland, which are perhaps have a bigger scene but might be like a closer community here?
Yeah, Spokane, it's definitely a closer community, mostly just because of how small Spokane is.
Yeah.
I would say that they're tough to compare just because of the size, and the music history in Portland and Seattle is, way beyond what it is in Spokane. Um, but Spokane's a really weird place for music. There is definitely a lot of famous musicians that are from Spokane. There's been a lot of great bands that have came out of Spokane, but there's just something about Spokane and music that it just kind of like feels like it lingers in this weird middle ground. and
Sure.
and it's one of those things, if you're doing anything in music and you get to the point where you can maybe make it, you're going to leave.
Right.
Just, Seattle's so close, Portland's so close, California's so close.
Yeah. And in terms of, I guess, major shows or concerts coming in, I wouldn't say Spokane has like the largest incoming like large concerts, but do you think that lends itself to maybe more kind of like underground or independent musicians coming through the town?
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's another weird thing about Spokane. Most tours that start on the West Coast, they'll come through California and then up through Oregon and through Washington. They have to come through Spokane to get to Boise or wherever they're going. And for whatever reason, there's a lot of bigger bands that won't stop in Spokane, which is always up for debate, but I think a lot of it is them just having bad experiences in the past. But, there's huge shows that come through Spokane.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're located right by the Spokane Arena, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Is there like a one big name that comes to mind that's come through your store or?
Usually bigger bands that play at the arena, they'll send their roadies
Sure.
to kind of check stuff out. I have had the bass player from the Scorpions came in one time,
Cool.
which was kind of weird. I mean, it's always just weird being around people that are that famous, but I think he's from, I want to say he's from Finland.
Interesting.
Yeah, and he brought his wife in, and he was buying a lot of stuff, and his wife, I don't speak Finnish, but you can kind of tell when someone's wife is getting mad at their
Yeah,
husband.
sure.
So I kind of knew what was going on, but it was
Interesting.
fun. It was really nice.
Yeah, I'm sure even like having the roadies come through lends
Oh yeah.
itself to some interesting conversations.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm a musician myself. I think music stores are similar to record stores, where
Mhm.
it's a place you can go in, talk about instruments, talk about music.
Oh totally.
And then I was reading in your bio, or your just section on about us on the senatorguitars.com. You were saying it's a place where you can come and grab a guitar off the wall, have a conversation about music. I found as a musician, there's a lot of music stores where there's almost kind of like this gatekeeping aspect of
100%.
music stores.
Yeah.
Is there like a mission you have? Because I mean, I know you're very community based. I know you like to have those conversations. You want people coming into the store,
Mhm.
having those conversations. Is that something you think is intentional behind owning a music store?
Totally. I mean, I've been going to music stores since, I was a kid, but there is definitely that disconnect and kind of like don't touch anything that's on the walls, and not to talk ill about any other guitar stores, but at least me personally, I always felt like they were anyone that works at a music store, they're kind of like on a pedestal. Like
Yeah.
they almost give it off that they know more than you know. And I always disliked that. So when I built my shop, wanted it to be a place where it was kind of like, I don't care if there's a $200,000 guitar on the wall. It's made to be played.
for it, yeah.
Pick it up and play it.
Yeah, it's interesting because even at, I don't know, I've found that even at guitar centers, that's kind of like their motto is you can come in and play whatever. But obviously people don't want to support a guitar center. They'd rather support, a small local owned business like yours. Not to knock guitar centers or
Yeah.
anything, but I found
Well-
that we're noticing that guitar centers are kind of shutting down in mass
Oh
numbers
yeah.
now.
Oh
I
yeah.
believe they just went bankrupt like
Yep.
2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, even at a place like Guitar Center, I mean, you can play whatever you want there, but they put the more expensive stuff kind of out of your reach.
Yeah, in the glass cases.
Whereas in my shop, I purposefully stopped hanging guitars at a certain level where people, like, I didn't want to hang anything where someone couldn't just grab it.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure that gets a lot of, I think that gets a lot of recurring customers coming back for you, sure, where they can get that experience coming in and grabbing something off the wall. We were talking earlier before the show started about just kind of how COVID's affected things. You said you've had a great customer base long before COVID, which is awesome. But how has COVID kind of shifted you into a new territory that might be different for the shop?
It definitely has made me aware of kind of what does better than others. Like I'm definitely more like hyper focused on certain things that I sell, or like I do tons and tons of repairs now, which initially when I opened the shop wasn't something I thought I was really gonna do, but it kind of now has become the bread and butter.
Yeah, that's awesome. Kind of going into new different territories, exploring other things. You were mentioning earlier about a remodel, and you said you were hoping to get some customers back in the store right now. You said you're only open by appointment.
Yeah, I'm open appointment only right now. I'm hoping to be back open sometime in the next month. But yeah, everything will look completely different. I'm kind of, even with this remodel, I'm getting rid of all of the display cases to, again, kind of break that barrier that there normally is, to make everything a little bit more open. And
Do for yourself from Guitar Center a little bit.
yeah, and not have the, that don't touch the things behind the counter kind of thing, and just have it be more like if you're going to a grocery store, just if you need strings, there, grab them, look through all of them and explore.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's awesome. We like to highlight Spokane, obviously, in this show. What's your favorite part about owning a business in Spokane?
Spokane's just weird. I like how weird Spokane is. Over the years, where my shop is, it's super close to the courthouse. It's really close to the jail. I just meet really weird people, and I don't know. It's just kind of cool. Which is another thing. Like I don't kick anyone out. I mean, I would if they were, a menace or something. Sure. But like in a normal guitar or any store, if a homeless person walks in, they'll usually kick them out. I don't necessarily do that. Just it's interesting to hear people's stories. But there is a lot of homeless people that playing music is their income.
Absolutely.
And I have a thing worked out where as long as playing music on the street corner is how they actually make their money, I'll fix their instruments for free.
That's awesome. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think that lends itself to very interesting conversations.
Oh, totally.
Someone that everybody tends to ignore or doesn't even want to acknowledge. But I think that's kind of what speaks to music shops in general, and especially yours. I think it's a very open environment where people can come and feel comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. Well, before we wrap up, is there anything you'd like to mention about your store?
Just come in.
Come in.
I'll help you make some weird sounds.
I like that. Cool. Well, thank you for joining me, Taylor.
Yeah.
And thanks to our audience for joining us for another episode of The Pulse of Spokane.
Well, this is Looms Day in Spokane. We got about 40 firefighters and their friends and family handing out 40,000 cups of water as the day goes by.
It's a very good opportunity to see the public and support them and help them out and cheer them on during Blooms Day.
It's one of the best things about Spokane is that we have these major events and the whole community comes together not just to participate, but to volunteer and show that they really care about our city and making our city look great.
This type of an event really is emblematic of Spokane because so many people get involved. We have 50,000 people probably running this race. Always has been a very huge event.
Right now we're at the corner of Broadway and Nettleton. It's the last water station before the finish, so people are pretty much dehydrated by the time they get to us. They really need our water.
The water stations are a vital part, especially on warm days like today. It's real important that we have the volunteers to help with that. Without the volunteers, Blooms Day wouldn't exist.
All up and down the course, there are people that are involved in this celebration. It really is a celebration of what Spokane's all about.
Welcome to Apex Plaza, Spokane's one-stop cannabis destination. Apex Cannabis features thousands of economy, value, and luxury cannabis products. Cannagear features hemp-based CBD products, glass, goods, and gear. Stop by 1325 North Division to experience the Apex difference.
This product has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming. Marijuana can impair concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence of this drug. There may be health risk associated with the consumption of this product. For use only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children.
When building a home or considering a major remodel, who are you going to choose? The Spokane Home Builders Association is an organization that works to elevate professionalism in the residential construction industry. We promote, protect, and educate for our community, building our community one home at a time. We are the Spokane Home Builders Association.
Thanks for watching this episode of The Pulse. We are where you are. Check us out on any of these other platforms as well as our website. This show is sponsored by Local 29 Firefighters Union, Homes for You, and Apex Cannabis.